You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Unemployment in Wisconsin is down 2.5%. The State Department of Workforce Development says that's down from 3% in July. Joblessness went down in all 12 major population centers in Wisconsin since August, as well as since last year. Wisconsin school superintendent says budget-writing lawmakers should release $50 million to support literacy education. Jill Underly says the Joint Finance Committee's decision to hold on to the money is putting a burden on local communities.
They have, with good faith, bought new curriculum, have trained their teachers, but they haven't released the funding that they need to do this. And so they are footing the bill, and their taxpayers and their local communities are having to do it. And the money is there. It just hasn't been released.
Underly accuses Joint Finance Republicans of obstruction. She gave her annual State of Education speech yesterday. Pro-democracy groups are calling out the mayor of Wausau for moving an absentee ballot out of the public's reach Sunday. Nick Ramos heads the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. He says it's as bad as a mayor going into a polling place and removing a tabulation machine.
Stunts like this only sow seeds of doubt into the security of our elections. This makes people think that their vote does not count. The truth is that your vote matters in every single election.
The Marathon County District Attorney is looking into whether Doug Diddy broke the law. A complaint has also been filed with the Wisconsin Elections Commission. Wisconsin businesses say healthcare costs are a burden. Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce's new survey shows 85% of Wisconsin businesses reported healthcare costs going up 10% or more. Wisconsin could bring an additional $2 billion in federal money if it expanded Medicaid. That's according to a new Wisconsin Policy Forum report. The report also says adding more people would also lead to higher costs and more demands on hospitals. Owners of older homes in Wisconsin can get some help paying for renovations to improve energy efficiency and safety. The Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority's More Like Home program offers low-interest loans to homeowners between $5,000 and $50,000. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now, here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WRCE News, I'm Joanne Krulotz. Governor Tony Evers signed an executive order ordering the flags of the United States and the state of Wisconsin to be flown at half-staff today in honor of U.S. Army Force Staff Sergeant Ralph H. Bodie, who lost his life in World War II and whose remains have been identified and returned to Wisconsin for burial. A native of Racine, Staff Sergeant Bodie was in the European theater during World War II. On September 27, 1944, Staff Sergeant Bodie's aircraft was shot down while on a bombing mission over Kassel, Germany, and a finding of death was issued by the U.S. War Department on September 28, 1945. In 1951, the American Graves Registration Command recovered remains from the crash site and interred them at the Luxembourg American Cemetery in Luxembourg and the North African American Cemetery in Tunisia. Staff Sergeant Bodie's remains were positively identified by the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency on December 26, 2023. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection will host 2 workshops during the 2024 World Dairy Expo for international exporters and importers on Thursday, October 3rd. The Exporters Workshop will be held from 9 to noon. Exporters, breeders, veterinarians, and freight providers are invited to attend to learn about the global dairy outlook, export protocols, certification, financing, and order fulfillment. This event will feature experts from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, LEA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, and the Export-Import Bank of the U.S. Registration is required by September 29th at forms.office.com/G/WS9NZDCJTW. For more information, contact Jennifer Liu at 608-347-1852. Scammers love phishing schemes, but they aren't just limited to emails. As more real businesses use text messages to communicate with their customers, con artists are sending out their own text, posing as organizations you know and can trust. If you receive an unusual text message, the following tips can help you decide whether it is a fake before scammers can get their hands on your personal information. Don't trust unsolicited messages. Watch out for suspicious links. Know that a personalized message doesn't make the sender trustworthy. Look for spelling and grammar errors. If a website looks real, check again. Look up phone numbers before you call. If you spot a scam, text "Don't reply." Keep your antivirus software up to date. For further information or inquiries, contact the Wisconsin Better Business Bureau at bbb.org/Wisconsin or call 1-800-273-1002. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection will host 2 workshops during the 2024 World Dairy Expo for international exporters and importers on Thursday, October 3rd. The International Producer Symposium, hosted in collaboration with Global Dairy Outreach and Global Cow, is directed toward global dairy producers and will take place from 1 to 4. This session will focus on dairy business profitability and feature 2 expert guest speakers. First, Paul Frick, University of Wisconsin-Madison, professor and extension specialist in dairy cattle reproduction, will present Building a Foundational Repro Program. Second, attendees will learn from Pamela Rug, professor of large animal critical sciences at Michigan State University, about gaining a competitive edge in milk quality. Registration is required by September 29th. For more information, contact Shirley Aceto at 608-419-4643. And that's what you need to know. I'm Joanne Krulotz.
A potential playoff preview begins tonight. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska with sports, filling in for Mike Clemens. The Brewers are locked into the NL's 3rd seed and will play in next week's wildcard round. This weekend, one of their potential playoff opponents, the New York Mets, are in Milwaukee for a 3-game series. The playoffs begin Tuesday. A familiar face awaits on the opposing sideline this Sunday. Vikings running back Aaron Jones will play his first game against his former team. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur said there's still a lot of love for Jones in Green Bay.
I think everybody in this building respects not only the football player, but more importantly, the person that he is. And like I said, there's a lot of love for him. We're going to have to hit the pause button for about a 3-hour window on Sunday, and then, pick it back up.
The team has not announced whether Jordan Love will play after missing 2 weeks with an MCL sprain. Kickoff is at noon on Sunday. Wisconsin football is heading west today to take on USC tomorrow. Badgers head coach Luke Fickell said long trips present challenges, but doesn't expect it to be an issue on Saturday.
Traveling to the West Coast means Friday morning is going to come really quick, and we got to get in here. The guys got to, get here and get ready to roll, and so that's different. But is it completely different? No. I mean, if you were going to the East Coast, it would still be early. It just maybe wouldn't be as early.
The game at USC starts at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Wisconsin returns home next week to play Purdue at 11 a.m. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska with Civic Media Sports.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. What did Amazon acquiring MGM do for you and your viewing tendencies? Probably not a whole lot, but if you're a RoboCop fan, Variety has some good news. A TV series is in development at the network and will be based on the 1987 classic feature film and the 2 sequels that followed. A TV show based on a movie is nothing new, but it has become a bit of a business model for Amazon MGM. They also have Poltergeist and Legally Blonde in the works as TV series. Speaking of spin-offs, let's go from the horribly violent to the more family-friendly fare. Disney has announced that the Inside Out franchise will now add a TV series to its roster. The first iteration will have 4 episodes and include the voices of Amy Poehler and Tony Hale. Inside Out 2 was released in June and smashed box office records, passing the Lion King remake of 2019 to become the all-time animated leader at the box office. The show is expected to drop on Disney in December. Sibling rivalry is alive and well in Hollywood. For Eric Roberts, it must be difficult when your sister is America's sweetheart and you are America's offbeat, quirky, and at times eerie character actor. In his memoir, Runaway Train, or The Story of My Life So Far, Roberts said his more famous sister Julia was good in Mystic Pizza and great in Pretty Woman, but that her performance in Steel Magnolias did not hold up. He also slammed the performances of the rest of the all-star cast, continuing that there were a bunch of over-the-top performances and crying in the movie, and as the saying goes, when award season rolls around, crying and dying bring home the bacon. Must be nice to have a sibling that can retroactively critique your performances. The studios are digging deep for reboot material. Remember the 1980s film The Burbs that starred Tom Hanks and Corey Feldman? It's getting a reboot and a makeover and will star Keke Palmer. The show will air on Peacock and it will be produced by Seth MacFarlane's company. Here are a few options that hit the big screen. First up, it's the highly anticipated The Wild Robot. If you love movies about robots that get stranded on deserted islands, then The Wild Robot is your film. The story follows the adventures of Roz, a robot who has to endure harsh conditions after being stranded on the island and befriending a gosling. As you can imagine, it's a family-friendly film. The critics are raving about it. It's currently pulling a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Francis Ford Coppola's 40-year, $100 million project Megalopolis also hits the big screen in wide release this weekend, but to uneven reviews. The legendary director's passion project is pulling about a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. And if it's graphic horror you're in the mood for, check out the Demi Moore film's The Substance. The film explores trying to make a better version of yourself by using, you guessed it, the substance. What could possibly go wrong? Let's go to the movies. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This little summertime in September thing we have going on here is going to continue right on through the weekend. Today, partly cloudy, 78 this afternoon. Tonight, clear, 55. Tomorrow, sunny, 78. Same thing for Sunday. Lots of sunshine with a high right around 78. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Temperature now 49.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.